Chapter 12, A Mama's Love. The calamity that ensued behind the death of Biggie shook the East Coast. It rocked me as well. Sean could have stopped it. He was complicit in it. He was a contributor. He knew it was going to happen and didn't stop it. This was his friend. No, they weren't nearly as close as Sean would have the public believe, but still. As far as Sean was concerned, we were great. To the public, we were just having the on-again, off-again relationship of a normal couple, and I probably just seemed like the money-hungry hoe. But the truth is, I just got used to not having a choice. Today, I recognized it for what it is, Stockholm Syndrome. I was at his beck and call and had to become comfortable with it. Quincy had everything he could ever want, with the exception, of course, of a normal parental figure. That is why this chapter is so powerful for me. A mother's love is so real. One night, I was out with my boyfriend. Yes, we were on again, and we were joined for dinner by none other than Miss Wallace. Sean looked over as security allowed Miss Wallace to approach the table and sit. Miss Wallace spoke with a smile. "Hello, Sean. Hi, Kim." I smiled the best I could. What a situation. For all intents and purposes, she is sitting with her son's killer. I hope my voice didn't betray my feelings as I said, "Hi, Miss Wallace." Sean smiled also as he said, "Hello, Miss Wallace. What can I do for you? When I got your call, it sounded urgent." He was able to appear as if he was smiling warmly. This was the creepiest situation of my entire life. She looked at Sean with pleading eyes. "I know this isn't your problem, but things have gotten kind of hard. I was hoping that you could send some of that money Chris made with you this way." Sean shook his head. "That's not something I can do. There are attorneys and accountants. Can I maybe help you out with a little something to get you past the hump?" Sean reached into his pocket to dig for his wallet. "I haven't even seen how much Chris left. It's going on 2 years. Just how long is it going to take?" Sean sighed as he replied, "These things are difficult, Mrs. Wallace. I don't know. The attorneys don't make this easy." Miss Wallace pushed further. "I don't understand what's so difficult. He worked for you. He made his money. Where is it?" Sean shook his head as if saddened by what he was saying as he continued. "It's not like I can just give you his money. You're entitled to certain amounts, and they are just trying to figure out what that amount is. I don't mean to sound cruel, but it wouldn't be fair to just give you tons of money. You got rich off of my son, and now you're keeping all of his money." Sean kept his cool as he replied, "I'm afraid business isn't that cut and dry, Miss Wallace. I paid for publishing, publicity. I mean, in all actuality, if I'm going to be straightforward, Mrs. Wallace, Chris probably owed me money. I won't know until it's all worked out." The anger in Mrs. Wallace's voice barely overshadowed the pain, or perhaps it magnified it, as she uttered the only word she could muster, "You bastard." Sean didn't flinch. He just said, "Look at the contract. I'm honestly trying to get him as much as possible out of it, but I have investors. I can't just take money that didn't belong to him and start giving it away." Miss Wallace exploded in response. "You know good and well Chris didn't owe you a damn thing." Sean stared her straight in the eye unwaveringly and said, He would have started making a profit after a few years. His money, until his album sales paid for studio time, music videos, publishing, and marketing, would have come from doing shows. I'm sorry he isn't here to make that money. I miss him." Her response was deadpan. "Did you kill my son?" Momentarily, Sean was stunned into silence. She asked again, her voice quivering. "Did you?" He started. "Miss Wallace," she would not be redirected. "Answer the question." I was not used to seeing Sean on the defensive. "No, of course not." She looked at him with spite and anger in her voice, enough to send shivers up my spine as she replied with the menace only a mother can. "I don't believe you, Sean." Sean looked at her with a sadness I knew in my soul to be fake, although looking at him without context, anyone would believe him as he replied, "I'm sorry to hear that." Today, I know he was able to muster that false sincerity because he's a sociopath. Back then, I thought it was compassion. With no more words, Miss Wallace stood up and left. Sean watched her exit in disbelief. Not knowing what to do, I placed my order. Dinner that night was long and silent. I feared for Miss Wallace's life. Sean is most dangerous when he feels threatened. No, she could not physically threaten him, but this threat was very real. If she goes public with her accusations, Sean's image would be damaged. I have felt for myself the I have felt for myself the extent he will go through in order to protect that image.